What is up, YouTube? This is Swide from Hebrew Legends, and I am here again with the much beloved Clifford. Clifford, how you doing, man?
I'm pretty good. It's great to be here.
Good. We're glad to have you back. Today, Cliff is going to be talking to us about Shattered LaLoon at Town Hall 10. He is the master at Town Hall 10 3 stars with Shattered LaLoon and other kind of LaLoon variations. Cliff, tell us just briefly, what are you going to go over with us today?
Well, I'm not sure about master, but thanks for the credit. We're just basically going to talk about the basics because there are lots of variations and people do different things. And once you get a feel for the basics, then you can develop kind of your own, I guess, personal touch to it. So, yeah, just the
Cool.
basics of Town Hall 10 LaLoon.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start this replay. You just let me know when you need it to be paused.
Okay.
And talk us through some of the stuff that goes into planning, some of the stuff that happened with this replay. We've got 3 replays all together, and we're just going to show them. And I'm going to have Cliff walk us through what went through his head while he's planning and while he's attacking, and the finer points of the execution and whatnot.
Okay, first, before you play it, can you pause it again?
Certainly, yeah.
I'm just going to talk about what I looked at when I saw this base and how I went about it. So this is not an anti-3-star base, obviously. It's like a base you would see in the clouds if you're up high in trophies. So what I saw is there's this big compartment here with all 3 air defenses in it. Or all 3 of them. There's a 4th one over here.
Right.
And so I looked at this, and there's a point defense here, a point defense here, and then 2 more over here. So that's only a total of like 400 damage. So that's within the range where, and they're close. So if I take them out, if I take it out with my heroes quickly, I will be able to keep my golems alive for a while. So that's one thing you have to think about is how much DPS will be put on your hybrid part, I guess. That's what you call it, the hybrid part of the raid.
Which is the shattered portion,
right,
the actual
the shattered
part.
part. Okay, so the queen is here. She's pretty easily accessible, and she's right next to this air defense. So I saw that I could come in from this corner, take out the queen and an air defense, and the clan castle. And probably this inferno, because it's right here, easily accessible, without a jump spell. And then I also wanted this air defense. So I decided to, I guess, take a risk and start on this side with my queen and this side with my king. So that my king would go in and take out this air defense, and my queen would take out the queen, this air defense, the clan castle, and hopefully the inferno.
Okay.
So I guess you can play it, and then I'll just talk about the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's starting early, and he drops a mini over here just to work on that building.
And this was a second attack, so I knew that there was a Tesla here. As you can see, my queen on this side, king over here.
And these golems split, which was awesome.
Right. And
which was the concept.
That wasn't necessarily the plan, because I didn't need a golem to tank for my king, but it worked out just as well. Okay, so pause it here.
Sure.
As you guys can just see, I dropped a freeze spell on the clan castle troops, and I was trying to get the queen too, because she does a lot of damage. And the reason why I dropped that freeze spell is because I didn't need a jump spell, and a freeze spell is a good alternative to place on the clan castle troops because they can do a lot of damage along with the queen. So if you get them frozen, that's like, I don't know, something like 800 damage per second that is frozen and not on your golem or your queen or whatever.
Right, and you ended up with a Tesla here as well.
Right. So that was a big gain for that freeze spell, and then it also makes it easier to drop your lightning spell. And so once I did that, I saw my king over here. He had taken out a few structures, so I sent his ability to get this air defense. It was pretty easy. No big obstacles there. And then you can play it again.
Sure. And are you hoping, like, there's a lot of trash in here. Is there a chance that your king follows a weird path where he doesn't get the air defense in this case?
Not really, just because I did cut the funnel. It was a little bit risky because he could have wandered off over here.
Right. But if he goes in like he did
with a minion, and then once he was in, I was pretty sure that with the king and all of his barbarians that he would just kind of clear this whole section.
Okay, cool.
And I knew the air defense was in that, so it was kind of a risk, and a lot of stuff at Town Hall 10 is risky, so you just kind of have to go for it.
All right. So the king gets that, no problem.
Is basically alone. She's alone, but there's no damage on her because the king is taking all the damage from that expo, and she's just getting hit by a cannon, a mortar and Inferno Tower. And once she takes that out, then I can start the lava and the loon drop. Okay, so you can pause it here again. Just talk about what I was thinking. I knew that there was a Tesla here and a Tesla here from the previous attack. So I figured if I drop the lava over here, followed by 2 loons, it will path across to this air defense and get this Tesla to pop up. And then the loons will path over here. Once they path to this mortar, they will path in and to the Wizard Tower and over to the Expo. So that's good. And then the next, I drop the lava to come in also on this air defense. And then just 2 loons over here on this cannon and 2 loons on this cannon. And I wasn't sure exactly how they would path. I thought they would path, both of them would path in to this mortar. Pathing is really important because you want to make sure that you have so many loons at Town Hall 10 that you can basically cover every point defense. Or every defense that's on the outer ring. Yeah. So then once that happened, once this cannon was taken out, I was able to drop loons on this Tesla. This one over here. Let me start over. Loons on this Tesla because it wasn't going to get taken by this group because they would path in. Right. And then also loons on this Archer Tower. So that's my thinking. It's kind of tricky to do like a delayed loon drop, but when you get it right, it works well.
And the concept is to have loons on essentially each of these defenses.
Right.
These will come up here, but so that they're pathing through to the next layer in their own individual sections. Because when you have so many loons, you don't want them all bunching up early and taking too much time to path, one defense to the other and going all the way around. You don't want over damage on each defense. You want the perfect amount and have them moving kind of in sequence.
Right, and so the rest of it is pretty straightforward because there's 1 defense here, 1 defense here, and 1 defense here. So just 2 loons on each of those, and it's good.
So
as you can see, they're all pathing through.
Exactly.
The rage spell to accelerate them, and another one, I guess, bridging the gap between them. And then a very high value freeze spell again. Loons land on the Inferno right after the freeze wears off. That's the best way to get the most value out of your freeze spell.
Perfect.
And the rest is just clean up.
You still have 2 hounds left.
I guess I did. That was,
That was insane. All right, let's bring another one up here.
All right.
So here's the second one.
Okay, so this base, it's kind of anti 3-star, I guess. And I was looking at coming in from this angle. But the reason I didn't do that is because the queen was so far away, I wasn't sure I could get her. And also, I believe this was also a second attack. So there was a Tesla here. And that's pretty high damage with the Expo as well, that I wouldn't necessarily take out very quickly because it was kind of spread around. So then I switched to coming in from the bottom here. And there's also a Tesla here, but this is only 3 point defenses and an Expo. So that's less damage, and they're easily accessible, so I can take them out quickly. Perfect. And so I decided I was just going to come from this side. And I knew I needed a jump to get to this Inferno. So this is kind of the standard. Jump, a lightning, 2 rage spells, and a freeze. So that's about it, what I took into consideration looking at it. Oh, and also I saw the way the air defenses were placed, I would only be able to get one of them.
Right, because there's so much you'd have to go through. Even though they look incredibly close together in this kind of offset square pattern, there's a lot of high health buildings you're working through on either side in order to get to one. And it looks like you could take 2, but chances are you're not going to get the queen and take 2 as easily as you'd think.
Yeah, and usually when you only take out 1 air defense, you would use 4 hounds, because I guess a general rule is 1 more hound than air defenses are alive.
Right.
Because the first one usually dies pretty fast. But I'm not sure why I decided to do this, but it was just kind of a risk, because the pathing, like, I could come and take out this whole side of the base very quickly with all my loons just pathed around.
I mean, it just looks... They're all kind of straight lines.
Right. So they all swing around this way and then right into this Inferno. And if I keep them all enraged, like start the rage here and then bring it around over here, they would get to this Inferno and then this air defense really quickly. And I knew that because they would be so covered by the Lava Hounds, they would have so many loons left at the end that it wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's play this. Let's show the people what you're talking about here.
Yeah.
So, only 2 Wizzies, and this is a replay we've showed on the channel before.
Is it?
But it has. I believe so. Yeah. But lots of good stuff here. So. And a rule of thumb is you're usually bringing 2 spells for the CC and the queen. And you usually have 3 left for your LaLoon portion of your raid. So last time, Cliff
for
brought
Shattered,
a freeze that's standard.
That's the general rule.
So his king goes in late after the CC comes out and just moves through. And he's kind of done at this point in the raid. It's all up to the queen to take out that air defense and to do what she's going to do. And she actually jumps a perfect direction here, and he gets an Inferno. I don't think... Were you planning on getting that Inferno, Cliff?
I was.
Oh, okay, great.
And so a very fast loon drop is not always necessary, but usually that you want it to be really fast.
Yeah. And especially on a small base like this, where you have multiple air defenses shooting you at the same time, because they're so close together.
And now you can see all of the loons just swinging in right to that Inferno.
Beautiful.
And then right over to the air defense.
For these last point defenses.
Yeah. And that's basically it. That was a super quick attack.
And your queen's up
done.
Still.
I guess she
rare.
is. Yeah, usually when you start the loon drop right after your shattered kind of peters out, or even before, then you can keep your queen alive,
Yeah, which
which
is
is very
incredible. Yeah,
helpful.
yeah, it's a huge advantage.
All right,
I moved
so
us, yeah, to this final replay with Oriole.
yeah, I am. I think I would have done the same thing he did.
Hard to know.
Right, so we'll just talk about what he does here.
Sure. And so his variation's a little different. Usually, like on the last two replays, you've brought the better part of 20 loons or a little more, and 2 golems and 3 hounds. But he decides to sacrifice roughly 6 loons, and he brings an extra hound out of the CC. So give us like when you decide to do that. What's the difference between what your kill squad is required to take out with 2 golems and 1 less loon, or I'm sorry, 1 less hound, as opposed to what Oriole brings here?
Okay, well, again, the general rule is to have the number of air defenses that are left up have that many hounds plus 1.
Okay.
And so I broke that rule on the last attack we showed, but Oriole is going to follow it, and it works well. Actually, he gets kind of overkill because he has a few left at the end.
Yeah.
But that's the general rule, just because usually if you're only taking out 1 air defense, there's going to be so much damage that you need the extra hound. And you can get away with only 15 or 16 loons just because, that's how Town Hall 9s do it. Usually they only have 15 loons.
Right, right.
It works fine. So you kind of have to stretch them. You don't have as many to waste.
Right, and there's a couple, there's at least 5 more defensive buildings at Town Hall 10.
Right, but because you have so much more tanking ability, it usually works out fine.
Right, okay. Well, let's play this, and you can walk us through what he's thinking here. So queen comes in
starting
early.
The queen over in the corner is risky, and it takes practice just to get a feel for what's going to happen. You have to really understand the way the base works.
And the way
I guess people are calling it like an archer queen walk. So he does a little mini archer queen walk right there.
And that allows him to only bring 1 wizard for funnel break. So he saves 4 spaces doing that, which is impressive.
Right. And so king in, dragon in the clan castle, which can be a problem, but isn't really here.
And this is a first attack. And one thing I want to say, actually, is... So he brought a lightning spell in there, turned out to be a dragon. Generally speaking, and I've talked to Cliff about this, and Cliff, correct me if I'm wrong, but generally speaking, it's nearly impossible to 3-star a Town Hall 10 on the first try. Generally, there's too many unknowns, there's too much that can go wrong, and you just don't have the scout, and you're not sure where things are, and it's just too difficult to do. But in this case... Oh, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, because the biggest thing you need is what's in the clan castle.
Right.
Tesla locations, air mine locations can be helpful too, but usually it's going to be a ground attack first. So as long as you know what's in the clan castle, that can really help you.
Yeah. But in this case, for Oriole, he's dealing with, on the whole, this guy has an extra expo. So he's got 3, but he's got almost entirely Town Hall 9 point defenses. He's got 3 Town Hall 9 air defenses, 3 Town Hall 10 wizard towers in this case. He's got at least 1 Tesla upgraded here, but on the whole, there's significantly less DPS coming at him. So he has a little bit of leeway that you normally wouldn't have at a max Town Hall 10. Additionally, the heroes, you can see, are a little mini. They're lower than Oriole's for sure.
Right, and it's like a 25% increase from Town Hall 9 point defense to Town Hall 10 point defense.
Yeah.
Which is really, really significant.
Substantial for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue this on. Phase of the queen early to get that dragon.
Yeah, he used the ability to get the dragon, and the Inferno was so close to the outside that it was just kind of going down anyway.
Right.
So the two hounds, or I think 3-on-1 air defense.
Yeah, it looks that way from 3 different angles.
Right, and so again, the very, very fast loon drop gets them all moving in at the same time, just kind of converging onto that inferno. And then once you get the inferno, you just kind of branch outwards and hope for the best after that.
Yeah. And I got a question for you, Cliff, actually. I'm going to pause this for a moment. So he had 1 extra loon that he was saving just for pathing circumstances. And he drops it up here on what I believe was a mortar. But he had an archer tower over here. I mean, he had this was overkill, right? He's got way too much that archer tower is not going to do anything. On the whole, are you trying to save a loon or 2 for point defenses or wizard towers at the end?
Yes, generally it's going to be a wizard tower, or generally that's what you want to save for.
Right.
And it's best to have like 2 loons. Sometimes a giant can work too, but that's kind of
it's hard
another
if not
level
on the
and
outside.
harder to do. But yeah, you want to save. It's like Town Hall 9 because we touched on this with the Town Hall 9.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want a loon, especially to take away the splash damage. Usually, with Town Hall 10, it's not going to destroy your raid, but it certainly can.
Right. And in this case, he doesn't. I think the reason he doesn't hit this archer tower is because he's got 2 hounds up, and he's hoping this archer tower is going to pop one for cleanup. Which is, he's got 2 very low health here.
Right.
But it's not. I don't think he gets one. I'm just going to play the rest of this because there's only 30 seconds left. But
so the rest is just cleanup. It doesn't pop.
Pretty. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
That's
so
unlucky.
I don't know. I don't think there's anything else. Do you have something else you want to say about that particular one?
Let me open it again here. I don't think so. It's a great attack. Here's the thing about this base I think there are people that would be tempted to come at it from the north, right? With 2 golems, because presumably a jump spell is going to let you into these compartments here. You've got a chance to get both infernos if you're lucky. You've got a chance potentially at 2 air defenses if you're lucky. And the ideal is that like you're getting 2 of one and 1 of the other. If you came in from the top, you're like, I'm not sure which 2 I'm going to get, but I'm hoping I'm either going to get these 3 here, or I'm going to get these 3. Well, let me just clear that for a second. Or I'm going to, have a king that jumps, wanders this way, and my queen cleans up one of these anyway. But there's just too much unit health up here. There's just so many storages. There's a town hall. The queen may or may not come out and play. And this king is going to be a problem too, because he's going to stay in this compartment and beat on anything in there. So the way Oriole does it is, he takes a risk by doing the queen walk initially, but he allows her to funnel herself in, and he does not. The biggest thing I see, like a lot of new Town Hall 10s who are trying to learn how to 3-star, is they go for too much. Obviously, you're taking a risk when you come in with a shattered anyway, but you can't, this is a crazy amount of the base to assume you're going to get with a shattered, all of that stuff, it's just insane. And I see a lot of people fail because they don't realize that their kill squad cannot take what they want it to take a lot of the time.
And it's all about damage and HP, because one thing that I am thinking right now is you want to be able to take out as many structures as you can while having your golems and heroes take the least damage possible. Yeah, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it makes. You're basically trying to do more damage than you're going to take on your own units, essentially.
Right, because storages are very crucial for defense, and can be a killer when you're attacking. Because if your queen is stuck on a storage and she needs to get to the air defense or the inferno, and there's an expo hitting her, and you use her royal cloak, and then she breaks down that storage quickly, but a skelly trap pops, then you won't get the Inferno and she'll die.
Right.
So that's another thing, another level that we can talk about if we ever get to like
a base building version
Town Hall
or something.
10 defensive.
Yeah, which
series.
we will. So stay tuned for those. But so like one of the things that I'm just gonna say, and I think you'd agree with me, is we said this last time too, and I can't say it enough, but if you're trying to be a serious war player and at Town Hall 10, trying to 3-star Town Hall 10s, you're undoubtedly a serious war player. You need to overplan for everything. You need to just assume, like, what's the worst possible thing that could happen in all of these cases and plan for that. Like, you assume, okay, like my queen goes here, my golem splits early, one of the golemites hits a spring trap, and then a skelly trap pops, and my queen's stuck on those for a while. You just have to assume all these things, and then you have to plan for the worst so that, you're using I've seen someone hit a similarly leveled base with, kind of close infernos, closer to the outside, and I would call this like some kind of fake northern teaser because the infernos are close and they're close to the AQ, and you're like, oh, maybe I can get everything. Right. Don't use maybe. You want to know, okay, this is absolutely what I'm getting, and if I get anything else, it's just extra, and it just helps me anymore. So
right, and it's also about confidence because you have to just commit to it. I mean, like a lot of other things in life, not that Clash of Clans is life, but it kind of is. Anyway.
If you're watching this YouTube video, it probably
is. Yeah.
Who knows?
But like a lot of other things, you just have to commit to it and trust that your plan is going to work and then go all out. Because if you hesitation or slow on a lava drop, it just completely can destroy it.
Yeah.
But there's also, you have to be confident and then confident enough that if something goes wrong, you can adjust it. It takes a lot of practice and getting used to.
Yeah, it takes practice for sure. If you're a Town Hall 10, you're watching the video and you're like, I don't even realize, like, how do they look at this base and say, okay, if I come from this side, this is what I'm going to get. That's just going to take practice. And you just have to hit a number of these bases, use some of the pointers that we're giving you in these videos, and just practice with it. Hit a number of bases each war, give it a couple tries. You're going to fail. At Town Hall 10, fail. Like Cliff, I show a ton of successes from Cliff, but he fails also. And he's probably our best player, hands down. But everybody's going to fail.
That far, but...
One way or another, everybody fails. And it's going to take practice. So don't get discouraged. You're going to get it eventually. Town Hall 10 might take a little longer. There's a lot more to consider and a lot more to plan for, but you're going to get it. So,
right. And it's very different, too, because you like if you're ever watching any of the big war videos, like In the Dark or whatever, you see all their successes, but what you don't see is that they have lots and lots of failures on the same base, and people just keep trying it and trying it and trying it, and then someone gets it and they move to another base.
Right. And I think recently in the Troopers Exclusive Empire War, there were a couple bases on either side that had 6+ Town Hall 10 attacks on them because these are Oriel's attack in this case was a first, but that is so rare. Usually it takes a couple tries from very talented players before the next guy comes in and says, okay, maybe if I try it from this way, and then that works. So don't expect it on the first time. The number of times I've seen Town Hall 10 3-stars on the first try, I can count on one hand, I think. It doesn't happen very often. And if it does, it's a base like this where things aren't quite leveled up all the way.
Well, especially on like a max base with an anti 3-star design.
Yeah.
Usually with like anti 2-star bases, you're probably going to be able to get it on the first try. It's still difficult.
Yeah, certainly. All right, hey, Cliff, give us a couple takeaways like last time, just things you need to think about and remember absolutely or you're going to fail. Anything. Troop composition, spell composition, deployment strategies. Give us a couple.
Well, the basic troop composition is like what you've seen on the screen. Spells is 1 lightning, 2 rage, 1 jump, 1 freeze, and then troops, I don't know, like 20 loons, 2 hounds, 2 golems, 3 wizards, 3 wall breakers, and 2 goblins. And
And
then in the
a
clan
hound.
castle,
Yeah.
a hound and a loon.
Right.
So that's like the basic strategy or the basic army composition, and you can tweak it from there. So that's one, and then confidence, just sticking with your plan and going all out, being fast, and then I think there was something else that you said.
Don't be too bold.
Right.
Yeah.
Go
Play
for
it.
less, and then be
Yeah.
happy when you get more.
Exactly. Plan for less and plan your loon in lava deployment accordingly, because if you get more, it just makes it easier for that portion of your raid. But if your shatter fails, that hybrid part that Cliff's talking about, if that fails, you're done. So
Right.
just plan conservatively and make sure it doesn't fail.
All right.
All right, guys. Cliff, thanks again for coming on, man. Pleasure having you as always.
Yeah, it was great.
And we'll
Thank
have
you.
him on. Oh, absolutely. We'll have Cliff on again. We have another video coming out eventually where we are going to go over some Town Hall 10 variations on this Shattered, different types of Town Hall 10 3-star strategies. I know we've gotten a couple of people who've commented and said, hey, we see all these Town Hall 10 3-stars from Cliff and Oriel and Roy, but how the hell do we do it? So we'll have some more kind of how-to videos like this coming out. But until
Great.
then, Cliff, you want to sign us off, man?
Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you learned something. I think that's about it from us.
Have a good one, guys.